Okay. What is your name?
Kimberlyn Zielinski.
Okay. What degree or degrees have you obtained, and what is your present title or position?
Sure. So, right after high school, I completed a joint dual degree program between Asbury, well, then it was Asbury College, now it's Asbury University, and the University of Kentucky. So I have a Bachelor's of Health Science from Asbury and a BSN, or Bachelor of Science in Nursing, from the University of Kentucky. And then I earned my Master's of Science in Nursing with an emphasis on nursing education from Ferris State University in Michigan, and my Doctor of Nursing Practice degree from Indiana Wesleyan. And that degree has a focus on systems leadership in nursing. My current title is Dean for the Cauble School of Nursing and Health Sciences at Reinhardt University, and Associate Professor is my academic rank.
Nice. What college or colleges did you attend? Which I think,
I kind of listed those for you already.
Okay. How many years have you been working at your career, at this career, and then your nursing career?
When you say my career, it's kind of a conglomeration of things, right? So, I have been a nurse since 2001, so I guess 24 and a half years. I've been a full-time nurse educator for 10 years. Prior to making that, transition into full-time teaching, I was working in a hospital as a nurse, and then on the side was teaching on an adjunct basis. I was teaching clinical rotations, a little bit of dabbling in the classroom, and then, of course, working on my master's degree so that I was qualified for a full-time teaching position. But I didn't stop necessarily working in my clinical practice as a nurse 10 years ago. During COVID, and then for a while afterwards, so from 2020 through 2024, I worked, along with my full-time teaching position, I was working at Piedmont Mountainside Hospital in the ICU as a bedside nurse. So.
It's almost 25 years. It's really cool. Next question is, how many years have you been working at this career?
Well, I kind of combined them.
What was the reason you pursued nursing?
I'd love to share that. So when I was in high school, I thought I was going to be a high school history teacher. That was my plan. And I just needed a job. And my friend's mom was an administrator at a long-term care facility. She said, hey, I was 16. It was somewhere between my junior and senior year in high school. And she said, we can put you through the certified nurse assistant class, and you can work at the nursing home, basically. I said, okay. It was a job, paid decent. So I did that, not expecting it to be my career path, just because it was a job that I could do. And I grew up in a really rural area with very few options. So I worked through that school year and fell in love with the job. And I couldn't put words to it then. I just said I liked taking care of people. But at the time, I couldn't really articulate any better than that. And over the years, I've realized that, I've figured out the words for it, for what I was feeling at the time. I find it incredibly gratifying, and it's just such an honor to me to get to care for people when they're in a very, very vulnerable place. You're close to somebody who's very vulnerable, and that is just a really special feeling for me. So that's what made me shift my career plan from teaching at a high school to nursing. And then working as a nurse, I realized I love working as a nurse. I find that to be the most incredible thing. But I realized I also really thoroughly enjoyed working with new nurses or nursing students, because I liked teaching that thing that I love so much. I liked sharing that with students. So that was exciting. So then I kind of got to, by moving into the nursing educator role, I get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, you do both. Awesome. Next question is, what is the most enjoyable or favorite aspect of your career?
When students think they can't and then they realize they can.
Aww.
That a lot of educators will talk about the aha moments when it clicks, and that's exciting. I had just this week I was working with a student trying to figure out dosage calculations, and we had a breakthrough moment where I was like, oh, that's why that, right? That's super fun. But my very favorite is when they think they can't and realize they can. That's the very best.
What is the least enjoyable or least favorable aspect of your career?
Probably the I love my career too. Just think about the hardest thing. I mean, there's little things, there's challenges, and there's stuff like that. But I think the least enjoyable part is the negativity and the poor morale that we're faced with in our nursing profession, and seeing that kind of rampant amongst nurses. And then it's even more painful watching students hear that and already start to absorb that before their career even starts. You know, when nurses convince nursing students that, like, they're somehow convinced already in school that they're going to experience burnout within 5 years, and I don't understand why that has to be that way. I don't think it has to be that way. And I think a lot of the I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, even just a couple years ago, being in the unit, my greatest complaint about working there wasn't the administration, the things that everybody complains about. My biggest complaint was the nurses complaining, right?
Yeah.
It's that pervasive negativity that we're challenged with right now in our profession.
Yeah. Do you feel that monetarily you are compensated fairly?
So that's a funny question. Let me say this. Here's what I will say, because I'm not going to directly discuss, my salary at the university. That would be inappropriate. But let me say this. Another challenge in nursing education is that nurses in clinical settings are compensated very well. So the next time you hear a nurse complaining about pay, that nurse should lose their credibility right then and there, because they're paid well.
Yeah.
To the extent that it becomes very challenging to recruit nursing faculty at colleges and universities, because we can't compete with the money that nurses are making at the bedside.
Yeah.
So we have great schedules, and we don't have to work Christmas, and we don't have to work nights and all that, but it's a pay cut. Quite frankly, it's a pay cut for nurses to leave bedside nursing and teach. There's perks, there's reasons why it works, but there is a gap there.
What aspect of your career would you change if you could?
Do you mean aspect of, like, my job now or my career path till now? Which do you mean?
Probably, honestly, either. Could be either one.
Okay. I wouldn't change the path I've taken at all. That I wouldn't change. I love where I am, and I love the experiences I've had along the way, and I wouldn't trade any of that. What would I change? I don't know what I would change. I don't know, because it's just the little challenges that happen in every job. So I don't know that I have anything worthy of mentioning about to that. So
awesome.
I don't know that I have an answer to that without thinking on it more.
Don't have to change anything.
Yeah.
If you had to do it over again, would you still pursue this career?
Absolutely. 100%.
Mm-hmm. Would you recommend me to pursue this field?
Yes, and I believe I already have.
Yes.
But yet trying not to recommend, because you need to make your own choice, and I want you to follow your path, not mine. But absolutely, if this is a path you think you would like, then yes, 100%. And there's so many options. That's the thing. By starting as a nurse, there are so many different directions you can take that. Advancing in clinical practice, advancing in leadership, advancing in education. If you're intrigued by education and higher learning and all the things that go on at a college or university and all of that, like, there's opportunities for that. That's really cool.
And then lastly, do you have any advice to offer me?
don't believe people that are negative.
That's good.
Just tuck it away that some people will be negative. I'm not naive and I'm not dumb, and I'm not dishonest. Of course, there are challenges in nursing and in healthcare. There are some really difficult things we face. There are staffing challenges. There's the challenge of keeping experienced people. There's the challenge of patients' unrealistic expectations. I mean, there's, of course, all those things exist. But if you let those challenges turn things into a place where you don't like your job, I guess that's on, I don't know, it doesn't have to be. That's kind of on you. And there's so many choices and opportunities in nursing. I've long since said, if you hate your job, if you are a registered nurse and you hate your job for more than 2 years, that's a you problem. You ride things out for a season sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, sometimes it's because that schedule works for your family, or because you just simply need to, I don't know, pay some bills and get that paycheck, and you can't take a different job that's a pay cut because you need that right now. You ride things out for a season. But if you hate your job for more than 2 years, you just haven't done what you need to do to find something different, because there are so many things you can do with a nursing license. You're really not stuck. So
Yeah.
if you hate it, that's on you, and don't blame nursing, don't blame the patients, and
Yeah.
don't spread your negativity to others. So my advice to you is, when you hear people that are spewing negativity, recognize it for what it is, and don't let that take away your passion.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, that was it.
Is that all you needed?
Yes.
All right.